Hello and welcome to another Clone Creates Classics video. Today's video is going to be a bit different. It's obviously not another Clone Army Customs drop, that's for sure. Today we're going to go down memory lane because, as it says right here, I have uploaded 200 videos to YouTube now. So to celebrate that milestone, we'll be going down the history of this channel, talk about a little bit about what happened before, and then everything that's happened year by year. Starting to what has been posted to this channel specifically. All of you remember, if you watch some of these older videos before the rebranding, this channel was originally called Clone Plays, and most of the intros and outros will refer to me as such. But so in the beginning, all the way back in apparently 2020, although I'm pretty sure a lot of these older videos are even older than that because I had recorded them previously in like probably 2018, 2019. Actually, no, probably 2019. I was not doing YouTube in 2018. But in that time, as you can notice from a lot of these early videos, I was already doing mocks, both terrain, vehicle, or I guess droid specifically for this one. And I was also doing gaming such as classic Battlefront 2. And also Minecraft. As you can also see, some of these videos did not do so well because my channel at the time was more, the audience was definitely for the Lego stuff. But sometimes some of these other videos did okay. In retrospect, and what's probably going to happen to a lot of these videos is I will be fixing the making new thumbnails, fixing the titles, and fixing the descriptions of them all so that they can be a little bit up to my current standards, and also just fix all the links that I have broken with the rebranding. But yeah, apparently a lot of people, as far as I can tell back in the day, really did like the Lego stuff more, especially this custom sniper droideka, although I have made a revised version of this, which I can't remember if I made a video on. But basically the thought process back here was I was going to be try to be a variety channel, which obviously doesn't work when you're very small like I am still. So, but I was just having fun, and I still am. I'm still just making the videos that I want to watch and the things that I like the most. So, and that's going to continue. Later on, it looks like I eventually started playing Terraria and making videos on that too. As a spoiler, eventually this single player series became a multiplayer series, which unfortunately went into an indefinite hiatus because eventually I just did not have time to record with my buddy to continue that series. Also around this time, I decided to start experimenting with stop motion. I had previously quite a few times. This was apparently the first time I had uploaded them to YouTube. So my original stop motion squad was called Fire Squad, and it involved a shock. All of these were classic clones, by the way, and you can tell in the thumbnail. But the first guy was a combination of a shock trooper and regular plain armor that had been sharpied to be red in certain spots. And then we had a couple of plane troopers, and then we also had a pilot. And I don't know, you can't see him in this first thumbnail, but in the second one, there was an actual shock trooper who had red legs and a minigun. So I was really happy. I was going to delve really into the history and lore of this squad, and it was going to do like a whole mini series of them starting at the beginning of the war with phase 1 armor, going all the way through phase 2, and then at the end of the war experimenting to see what would happen if these clones chose not to listen to Order 66. And this is also in the Legends timeline. So these clones don't have inhibitor chips, they're just loyal to the Chancellor and the Republic. Although some clones in Legends, and what I was going to experiment with, did not listen to the Order. So that would have been an interesting way to go, although I just never got around to doing that. And unfortunately at this point, most of these squad members have been returned back to the original states, such as this commander captain. I can't remember what I had wrote in my notes, but his helmet has now gone back to just being on a shock trooper body. Maybe in the future I can definitely bring him back because all I would need is a custom decal for the torso, maybe a custom decal for the helmet and the legs, and then the cloths wouldn't be that hard to recreate because at least in this image and what I had to use back then was the original ARC Trooper cloth from 2012, and then just a black combo waist cape that I had gotten off of whatever clones at that time period too. But yeah, as you can see, the variety was still happening. I did still do a couple of mocks here and there. I'm actually really happy with this one. It will scroll back to that. This night game one. The premise, as you can see in the thumbnail, was I made an entire mock, then turned off the lights and only used the lights that were within the mock to light it up. I personally thought this turned out very well. The issue is YouTube compression. It's really hard to see as a YouTube video what is going on here, but it was originally a Scarif mock, which if I scroll back up, I believe, no, okay, it looks like I made that video either later on or never made a video for that. But this was a Scarif, and then I turned it night, and then I made it like the Death Watch troopers were doing a training exercise on Scarif in the dark, which I believe, if I remember, and also look at this thumbnail a little harder, it was capture the flag because one of these guys has a flag. So I thought that was interesting. Might revisit this concept because I do still have these power function lights, although would definitely try to implement it in a better way. Scrolling on, we also had back in 2020, I attempted to make a Lego auto sorter. Now the concept behind this was I watched a video that I had stumbled across on Twitter. I'll put a link to it once I do the editing later so I can remember who and what that video was titled and who made the things. But so the idea is obviously you would like put a tray of Lego into this machine and it would dump it. This first attempt, version 0.5, which there was no version 1 because this was it. This is all I did with it. You would dump your Lego in, it would land into a tray, another Lego tray, and then the machine would kick the Lego tray out, and then eventually the plan would be another machine or setup would take that tray and then eventually sort it using like a Lego claw arm or something. This worked out okay. The issues with it is I didn't have that many pieces back then because I built this physically, and I still needed to plan out a lot more concepts and functions that this thing would eventually need, and I just never got around to it. So I actually started sorting this. If you've seen one of my latest live streams, one of my latest sorting live streams actually contained a lot of parts that were originally to this. Another live stream will take care of a lot of these other parts too. Yeah, continuing on, we still had more variety stuff. So I was still doing Terraria, I believe, still single player up until here. So it looks like I did 6 episodes by myself, and then I tried to do a new thing called Let's Play Together, where we would work together to do go through the world and do all that stuff. This series I'll talk a little bit more on in a bit. Scrolling back up, you can see I'm still using still actually doing terrain. These 2/3 mocks, I actually was able to get away with using essentially the exact same terrain, just mixing it up, because this one was all covered in grass, and then I just ripped out some of the grass to fit this custom snail tank from back then. Which, funny enough, now that I know more about the snail tank since I've worked on what is now the UCS one for so long, I now actually wish I had this one, because this one was actually pretty good. Could use updated parts that didn't exist all the way back in 2020 or earlier, because I believe this model was actually, I think I actually threw it together all the way back in 2017. Same with some of these like Death Watch ones. I believe I actually made most of these back in like 2016 when the Rogue One sets were a thing. But yeah, this snail tank, I modified one of my 2013 snail tank sets and turned it into what I thought was a better one, which in retrospect, it's not the greatest, but it was still definitely better than the set that Lego had given us. And I actually do kind of like this mock. I can't remember if I don't believe I had Kashyyyk in mind, but I did use 41st Troopers, which are usually associated with the snail tanks on Kashyyyk. So maybe this is just a random planes that's on Kashyyyk, but I did really like this mock. I don't understand why. Oh, I think I had this as the clones were doing an ambush, right? Possibly. And I definitely go into more detail because I had another video, this one, that goes into detail about everything that was in this mock, which I also entered a contest for from Brick Pigeon. I'm not sure if they're still around. If they are, show a clip of their channel. And yeah, I did actually enter contests here and there. I need to do a better job of that actually now, so that I have a reason to make more terrain landscape mocks and vehicles too. As much as I love doing stuff digitally, I also super love just putting something together with physical bricks. The main drawback that I have with it is I usually want to keep my things together if I build them physically, so it kind of hurts to rip it apart, but I do need to do that quite often so I can have parts for other things. But yeah, moving on, in addition to the snail tanks, I also at this point started showing off like what the UCS one, which is eventually now designated to UCS, because at this time I actually actually thought this was minifigure scale. I was convinced based off all the reference images that this was it. Obviously now I know this is way too big, but I was trying to make it fit with the B1s on the side treads and make them so they could fit, and then get all the details that I needed to get in. But yeah, I have now since learned that this boy's too big. Moving on, yeah, I think I did one a week, which is now my current schedule as well. I did one a week videos. I can't remember what days I normally posted on, but yeah, more Terraria. Terraria was actually doing pretty well. It was starting to gain some traction, especially when I eventually switched over from doing the Let's Plays to focusing more on the tips and tricks series, where I would teach you different, well, honestly, they eventually ended up just becoming tutorials. Like, especially this first one. This first one was just like how to add texture packs to the game. These next couple didn't do so hot. Oh, this one didn't do so hot, where you survive your first night, which I do think is still a pretty good concept, because at least in Terraria, it is semi-difficult to survive the night, because you can't just sleep the night away. Unlike Minecraft, around this same time, I actually started running my own mock contest, because I believe this first one done a 50 subscriber contest, and then also did a 100 subscriber contest. Eventually, I did actually used the fire squad and actually did a few animations. We have one here, which was the first one, which, funny enough, if I had completed my original concept for this series, this video would have technically been either the second or third to watch chronologically, which is why this is titled Hour 230. Moving to the year 2021, we have the continuation of the classic Battlefront 2 series that I did with a buddy at the time and just played. I had a ton of fun. I might bring this back as a live stream of sorts and then do some VODs on it. I continued the tips and tricks series. I continued making, or rather reloading, mocks that I had done previously, because I definitely had done this speeder bike before doing YouTube. I also started doing Clone Army custom stuff. I started actually having money and started buying custom parts. So I upgraded my Cody, upgraded and made a 2/12 trooper in the TCW style. And then I also started my podcast series, which was titled How Builders Think. Apparently I mistitled and did bad English on this first one, which will be corrected. And then I was able to have fantastic opportunities to speak with Lego Spencer, Brick System Brothers, Coconut Brick Studios, The Brick Whisperer, Nolark Studios, Nico Bricks, SW Bricks and Figs, Darkrai Bricks, Trandoshan Bricks, GM Productions, Robonut03, and then unfortunately that's where I had to put the series on hiatus, because then I got too busy to run a podcast. Around this same time, I also started doing Lego/custom Lego hauls. This first one was stuff that I had bought and also received as gifts from relatives. We also have more stop motions. Added another one, another entry to the Fire Squad series, which was Hour 250, which was a somewhat of a soft sequel to the first episode, where it has the exact same squad, but just in a different environment, I believe. It shows you how much I remember these old videos, because I'm having such a hard time remembering a lot of them. But I also did start doing some shorts, where I would do very short stop motions within a minute. I believe these were before YouTube Shorts were a thing, so this would not quite work in the vertical format unless I like retooled the entire video. The tips and tricks series for Terraria continued on. I decided, one, I didn't know how to do this, so I decided to make a video to teach myself and teach others how to make the Zenith, which is the best sword in the game, where it combines all these other swords, including the copper short sword, which is the first sword you get in the game when you spawn in. Did even more shorts, where I did this one about commando droids wearing clone armor to confuse other clones. Did another one where I did a stop motion to help celebrate and promote the Brick System Brothers giveaway. I actually really like this. I really like stop motion. It was a lot of fun because I decided to experiment with different voice lines for the different clones and different camera angles. It was a lot of fun. Tips and tricks again continued, where I taught people how you actually find the official lore and how you do modded Terraria, so how to install Team Mod Loader so then you can get to the whole world of modded Terraria. Did a few videos on explaining how to use certain mods like extendable inventory and mod helper, and also cheat sheet. 3 essential mods, at least for 1.3.5. I might be bringing this series back. Around this time as well, I started doing even more mocks. So I did this bridge, I did the cantina. I called these mini mocks because they're just on a 16 by 16 plate. I also started doing speed builds, which aren't the most successful thing unless they're paired with a review. At that same time, I was also experimenting with bringing Star Wars into Minecraft. So the one video that I was actually ever able to finish of it, I decided to make what would eventually, hopefully, had turned into a Minecraft server that people could join, was this Star Wars Battles, which was my custom mod pack, which allowed you to choose between the Republic and battle droids. And at that stage, you were only able to fight AI battle droids. And that's as far as it got, because all of these battle droids were built using the custom NPC mod for 1.12.2. And there are a lot of missing features, obviously, because that's a semi-old version of Minecraft. And I was still semi-new to actually creating custom NPCs using that mod and giving them custom AI to do certain things, like how actual battle droids would work. Towards the end of this year, I actually started to design custom mocks within Studio and actually publicly releasing them onto Rebrickable for purchase. I attempted to do them in waves, where I would release like 2 medium, 2 large, and 4 small, which at this time just meant every design that I had finished at that point minus a few others. Unfortunately, it became a lot for me alone to do waves. So at this point, I just release them whenever I get them done. Although I might revisit the concept of doing waves once I have either more help or more time. In the year 2022, I continued a lot of the things I had just started doing in the end of 2021, which was doing more mocks. I also started helping people with mocks, like this one, for instance. This was a test build that I had done for Thrawn's Revenge to help specifically test this TIE Punisher to make sure that it would actually work and not implode on itself. I also started doing and started focusing more on doing classic LEGO Star Wars. So we got my classic First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, and I believe it also talked about the classic First Order TIE Fighter, since those are pretty easy to color correct in the classic style. And I started buying more and more classic LEGO Star Wars sets, such as this Y-Wing and Vader's TIE, this Lambda, and this TIE Bomber, and doing more mocks, which in this case I did a video where I was going to do the custom work in progress of the week. And obviously what I've been doing now as of this year of 2023 have been this Clone Army custom reviews, where I've either made these raw reviews on the latest drops and also on previous drops to bring to light certain products that may have been forgotten about. But yeah, that has been history at a glance of the Clone Creates Classics channel. I'm so happy for all of the success that I have been able to receive generously from everyone who's subscribed, liked, commented, and shared my videos. Please continue to do so if you like my content. I will continue to make more. I will try to stick to the 1 a week videos. That way I can make the highest quality videos that I can at this current time. My name has been CloneCreatesClassics. I, again, super appreciate everyone helping me out. Remember, every clone has its roots in the original, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.